So we really only had a couple of things happen throughout the week. A few things that I want to quick shout out. First one, shout out to Red Wing. So Red Wing is a city that is looking at opening a municipal dispensary. The one thing that makes them slightly different is that instead of just saying, how can we open this business? They actually met with the Prairie Island Indian community. So trying to figure out, we have these native partners near us. How can we help to really expand this and get something launched with the people that we have here to work with?
That's smart too. Do it right. You can start early, Red Wing.
Yeah, for reals.
I think they're just, I've really seen that everyone is interpreting the path towards legalization different with what we have right now. So it's cool seeing a town like Red Wing actually take the most efficient path. Yep. I think they're the first ones to do that.
Yeah, first one that I've seen. So we just wanted to shout out Red Wing. Still not a ton of news about what that would look like. More to come in the future. But, cool to see so many towns exploring. How does cannabis look for us?
Dude, yeah. Minnesota cannabis is getting more interesting every day as people take their shots.
Oh, yeah. But, honestly, the biggest news from this week, it was 420, sort of things were in a lull after that, but things weren't in a lull at the legislature, at least sort of. So let's get to it. So I've got a couple of things that I want to sort of talk about, and then we'll talk about, the real big story this week. So House File 4757, the bill that passed in the House last week, we talked about that on our live show. It's still working its way. It now has its first hearing in the Senate. So they're no longer looking at the Senate version, but now the House version in the Senate. It'll be going to the Commerce Committee, and that's happening next Tuesday. So if you're listening to this Monday, happening tomorrow, 12:30. Exciting to see that.
I'll probably be down there.
There we go.
Woo.
Live stream it. You can watch John talk again tomorrow if you're watching this on Monday.
I will not live stream it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Guy who barely responds to his text here.
Live streaming. All right. So that bill we saw sort of get mulled into the Senate. Let's be honest. A lot of the real action that's been happening in the Senate this week is looking at a senator that might have been arrested for burglary.
Well, might have, yes. Charged, yes.
Yeah. Not convicted. And that's why we want to be clear.
Question mark, folks.
Yeah, so we reached out to some people to try to get better insights on, do you think that this will really prevent cannabis legislation from moving forward? Really, they think no. The ethics committee does need to look at it. It's probably going to happen after the committee or after session wraps up.
Exactly. Like, it's too late. We have 3 weeks left. GOP does not have the power to make her resign. Yeah. Like, the caucus doesn't have an appetite to do it. Like, I heard Erin Murphy on NPR, and she, in so many words, said, we're going to wait till session ends, and then we're going to, she's going to have to figure her own life out because Senator Mitchell, come on. Yeah. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. But absolutely. We want to very, very carefully avoid defamation. When I'm awkward,
when I'm uncomfortable. Because I'm laughing, but this is a serious situation.
It's a serious situation, and also, I feel very much for Mitchell and her family and just everything going on. And, excited to see that at least the legislation that people have been working across the state on for a long time will continue to make its way forward, and that the balance of that isn't hanging.
Well,
for now,
yeah.
At least on this,
and it's like, even if it's like not just cannabis stuff, there's so many bills that have been worked on this year that's like it's all in flux now. Yeah, because that vote.
And I want to talk about one other bill that we actually talked about a little bit earlier in the year that really I had thought sort of died in committee, but it appears to sort of back alive. So House File 4251.
It's the flavor ban?
Yeah. So it would ban flavored added to cannabis products. And really the language that we're specifically looking at is that it would ban any product that presents any description or depiction of flavor that would imply to an ordinary person that a product might contain a flavor other than the natural taste or smell of cannabis. So like buying a vape cartridge that says blueberry muffin, even though blueberry muffin is a cultivar, probably to an ordinary person would impart flavors other than cannabis. And similarly, anything that imparts a taste or smell other than the taste or smell of cannabis that is distinguishable by an ordinary person prior to or during the consumption. So if you smell it and it smells like straight oranges, that might not be able to be sold.
I mean, I don't think I have to say it, but that's super problematic.
It's super
It's
problematic.
super problematic in cannabis, where not only the names, the smells, like those are parts of like of how you classify these things.
Absolutely.
Like it's the natural way they have. Well, I say natural, but they have been like bred to do this, and that's like that's part of the appeal of this whole deal.
Yeah, when people name a cultivar after a certain smell, certain flavor, certain something, it's not necessarily because they want to be able to go put it on the shelf and say like, hey, look at this. It's something that happened in the legacy market that was, hey, this smells like cereal milk. Yes. Hey, this smells like insert OG, diesel, insert any smell here. Having limitations on people being able to accurately describe their cannabis products, I think is a little bit concerning.
So I looked at it carefully. I saw some little snippet of it. It was also posted on social media with some new language. Yeah. And it's like, you'll be able to put 6-point font of whatever, like whatever profile, whatever cultivar you are selling. And that is not enough. That's not like correct. It's not the way we want to do this. And I'm kind of curious of how this bill resurrected itself.
Yeah, so it looks like what happened is that the joint rules around this needed to be heard in every single committee prior to that artificial deadline that they set has been waived. So they're able to move it forward. Yeah, right. But it's looking like what could potentially happen is that it's going to be included in the overall health omnibus bill that the Health and Human Services Committee puts together. So if DFL legislators want to vote against it, they're not just going to have to say, hey, I don't like that one specific provision. We're voting against this one bill. It's, hey, we've got this whole omnibus bill that was worked together. If Commerce or if, like the committee that works together to put it together says this is part of the final version, how can one House member stand in the way and say, we're not going to pass Health and Human Services. We're not going to pass funding for X, Y, and Z because I don't want you to be able to describe cannabis products in certain ways. Yeah. I think it sort of could potentially put some people into a tricky situation.
Then the hope is it doesn't get into the bill with this language.
Absolutely.
Like the original language, fine.
Yeah.
Like, it can be interpreted however you please. And I think at that point, OCM and whoever is the regulator will understand, like, okay, this is not marketing towards, they're not saying it's blueberries, they're not saying it's a banana. Absolutely. They're just describing the flavors and effects. But if it stays as is, it would be something that we would have to operate under for, honestly, though, like the way this is all shaping to work out, it might not affect a single soul by next session.
It's possible.
And so it's but the language itself is super problematic.
And that's the thing, John. Think back to the early days of activism. We can't let bad bills make their ways into bad laws. And obviously, we don't need to remind people to call their lawmakers. People are already doing that. I know you guys are sick of us saying, call your lawmakers, send them emails. If you got a text message for them, send them a text message, whatever be it. But hey, if you happen to be reaching out to them and saying, here are some of my concerns, tell them definitely don't include this language in any future
especially
bills.
If you are a St. Paul resident. I believe the bill comes from a St. Paul representative. Reach out to your rep.
Yeah, Representative her.
Yeah, I don't like this. I want this language changed. Let them know why. Because if it makes it, like you said, what is it? It's 71 is the health bill. That will pass. Yep. Like the health bill will pass. So if you don't like this language, make sure it doesn't get in there. Yeah. And I'm kind of talking myself on that one too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think it's a good reminder that like we've been so focused on X, Y, and Z from that omnibus bill or the Cannomnibus bill, which I think is important stuff. I don't mean to minimize it.
And that's why it's strange that this one is backdooring its way in when it will affect every part of the cannabis industry that deals with the plant.
Oh yeah,
feels.
Well, and strange. I think that's sort of what we're going to run into over the next couple of years is if you think about it, not every alcohol bill that makes its way through session is through like a alcohol law reform lens. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's, hey, we're protecting kids, and these are just various reforms that protect kids. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's we're preserving Minnesotan health, and this is just various measures happen to include some alcohol things. Mm-hmm. I think this might be our first look at cannabis being included in that lens of, hey, this is just a general health reform. And yeah, it affects cannabis products, but it includes all smokables. But I don't know.
But it is focused on, the point is to regulate cannabis hard. And I really would love to hear from Rep Her on this.
Yeah, so Rep Her, if you want to come on the show, reach out.
Or just like where this information's coming. Like it doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Like this doesn't protect anyone, and that's the thing. It would be harmful to an industry we're trying to set up, and that's all it would be at this point.
Artificial regulations placed upon the rules that OCM are already working hard to help develop. We don't need more rules placed on top of an industry when we have a regulatory body literally making the rules right now.
And I would say the bulk of this bill, because I did read it, it's like a paragraph.
Yeah.
It's like fine. It's like, we don't want artificial flavoring, but that natural flavoring, and I say natural again because like it's human controlled, but
for sure
it's still the plant doing its own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. If they limited it to smokables can only have cannabis or herbally derived terpenes, naturally derived terpene, like whatever, I don't know that. I'm not the expert on this. I do know, however, that language, not what we want in our bill.
Not now. I was like, I need to reach out to people.
No, that's
what you need to do too.
Yeah,
like,
you reach out
to people.
Because this is not something.
You're growing at home right now. Reach out. Let them know.
Yeah,
why that's
I want to be able to describe my product to people as it is, not having to say, "Hey, I'm sorry that this tastes like blueberries." I have to call it blue. Like I don't know, whatever word to get around.
Blue cup.
Yeah.
Blue tin.
There we go.
Blue top.
Allen wrench.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well.